How does a medium create boundaries with spirit? In this video, I'm sharing with you the most important boundaries that I have with spirit, plus my take on what's missing when people tell me that boundaries with spirit don't work for them. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit that bell, then you'll be notified the next time I release a new video about all things mediumship. You can see me in action and watch my readings that I've recorded, plus I give how-tos about spirit communication, meditations, and so much more. When you're just starting out, you want to sense spirit all the time. You're excited about it, it almost feels addicting, and of course, you're trying to figure things out. But if you were in any other profession, for example, if you were a doctor, you wouldn't take all your doctor tools to the grocery store when you go grocery shopping, out to dinner when you're with family or friends, definitely not in the bedroom. So, why would you do things that way as a medium? In addition, just testing out around people which of their past loved ones you can feel because you're trying to sharpen your skills is actually an invasion of privacy. So just chill out. You will develop your skills as a medium if you are committed and if you do the work just as fast by figuring out what your boundaries are with spirit and how often you can give readings, and probably faster than if you were to constantly be on and trying to give readings nonstop. All right, so the first step to having great boundaries with spirit is to consciously establish with yourself and with spirit what your desired boundaries are. Now, this is important, so listen up. Have you ever heard that phrase, you teach people how to treat you? It's true. And the same goes for spirit. You need to first sit down, get out a journal and a pen or your laptop, and really get clear with yourself. What are you available for? What kinds of experiences when it comes to mediumship and interacting with spirit? And what are you not available for? Boundaries do not work according to what you say your boundaries are. Boundaries work according to what you believe and know you are or aren't available for. If you hear nothing else in this video, listen to that again. And if you feel like you've been trying to instill boundaries, you're not sure exactly how to do it, I have a little step-by-step for you. When you become aware of spirit, you don't want to be aware of them. Number one, acknowledge them. Number two, say a firm no, not right now, or I'm busy. And number three, let them know when you will be available, or if you never want to be available, state that. Here's what it might sound like. I sense your presence, but I want you to know that I am not available right now. You can come back when, insert XYZ. For me, it would be, you can come back when my light switch is on and I'm working. I'd like to share with you some boundaries that work really well for me in my mediumship. Here's the bottom line for me with all of my boundaries. Unless my light switch is on because I am sitting down and getting paid to channel spirit, regardless of the capacity, private, public reading, one-on-one, group, my light switch is off and I am unavailable to channel spirit. Now, that may not be how you want things to be for you. For me, mediumship has to be something that constantly brings me joy. And that means it has to be sustainable emotionally, energetically, physically. And for me, I am unwilling to get myself into a place where showing up for any kind of reading in any capacity feels like a slog. I also know that if you don't have firm boundaries with spirit, they will show up. For example, when you're trying to sleep. Now, sleep is one of the most important things for me in my life, and it's an absolute non-negotiable. So I've made my boundaries from the start very clear so that they don't show up while I'm sleeping or any other time for that matter. In addition, I won't get into it now, but you'll understand why I'm so strict about my boundaries if you watch my YouTube video, My Dark Night of the Soul. Check it out. When it comes to boundaries, something that I am available for is signs from spirit. I love receiving signs from spirit, especially from my spirit team or from angels, and I get them constantly throughout the day. I don't let them become the main focus of my day. I just let them bring a smile to my face as I go about my day-to-day activities. But I'm not focusing my energy into expanding my awareness and trying to sense who's present with me at that time. While I am strict with boundaries with spirit, I do let spirit know that when it comes to emergencies, they can notify me. An example of this wasn't a scary emergency, but my sister was staying over the holiday and she'd gone out and she was coming home late. I went to sleep early, like I usually do, and I felt thrown out of bed. And all I could hear was, "She's trying to get home. She's trying to get home." So I picked up my phone, dialed her number. She called right away and she said, "Hey, Mel, I'm just trying to get home right now." And then she finally got an Uber and hung up. I put my phone back in the kitchen, went to my bedroom, and then all I could hear was that I needed my phone right by my bed, which I never do. I have a really big rule about no electronics in the bedroom. So I was like, okay, fine. I bring the phone into my bedroom. I lay down. I'm just about to fall asleep, and my phone rings, and it's my sister. We have a gate outside of the neighborhood, and I never come home late enough to have to put the code in. So I gave her the code, and she was able to get home. Otherwise, she would have been stuck in an Uber in the middle of the night, not being able to get home. So that was an example of a time where Spirit took me up on that exception to my strict boundaries. And I'm really glad that they did. And so I have that trust with Spirit that if it's an emergency or if I'm really needed, that they'll jump in and they'll let me know. Another important boundary that I have with Spirit, they can get really excited when there's a lot of them on the other side wanting to communicate to a sitter. I ask Spirit, please come one at a time. And most of the time they listen. But it can be really frustrating when you're bringing through all kinds of evidential information and somebody's saying, yes, that's true for my dad, but everything else you said was for my brother. I really don't enjoy this. So I try to be really strict with Spirit and I say, I can bring through multiple spirits, but please, I want you to line up one at a time. And most of the time, they really honor that. Another boundary or guideline that I have in place with Spirit is the way I like to run my readings. Now, I have a list of evidence up around my house so that everybody who works with me is aware of how I like to run my readings and what kind of evidence I like to bring through. For me, Spirit knows not only one at a time, but the first thing I like to do is very clearly identify who is this spirit who's coming through and what is their connection to my sitter. Over time, most of the time in my readings, I'm able to identify those details quite quickly. And then I like to move on to getting lots of different pieces of evidential information. Like I said, I have my list. I also have a YouTube video all about 22 evidential signs from Spirit. You can check it out. And lastly, I like to move on to the message. The final thing would be to tie up any loose ends. Now that I've run my readings like this for some time, that I've meditated, that I've put this into my mind, that I've spoken to Spirit and spoken to my guides, they really honor that a lot of the time. And I find that my readings actually flow more or less in that form. Another boundary I have with Spirit, clairsentient spiritual impressions have to be gentle, especially if they have to do with how the spirit passed or an ailment that the spirit had or an injury. There are times where I've felt intense things. Maybe it was a gunshot wound to the head, a broken hip, or an aching back. One time I felt all this pain around my neck. Another time when I had a spirit who came through who had dialysis, I got this feeling of cold water rushing throughout my body. Now, none of these things are painful or horribly disturbing when I experience them because I've told Spirit, you need to back off a little bit and be gentle. When I was first coming into my gifts, about a half an hour before a development circle, I got extremely nauseous. I had a stomach ache. And I said to Rob, I think someone's going to come through for me who's been through chemo because I just feel really nauseous and really bad. And sure enough, I went to development circle and I brought through this woman who had had diaphragmatic cancer and who had been horribly nauseous and sick and had terrible stomach aches. And so what I had to say to Spirit that my tutor helped me discover was, I need you to back off a little bit. I need you to bring through clairsentient spiritual impressions much more gently. What's your number one most important boundary with Spirit? Please go ahead, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, I haven't gotten to this yet, so I'm sure this question's going to come up. What do I think about negative spirits or dark energy? To be completely honest, I have never experienced negative spirits or dark energy. Now, do I experience spirits who are coming through to discuss past trauma that is extremely heavy or suicide or murder? Absolutely. But are these spirits negative? Are they dark energy? No. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. In fact, I think it makes a lot of sense that it probably does exist. But this goes right back to what I said at the very beginning. Spirit very much has an understanding of not what you say you're available for when it comes to your boundaries, but what you believe and know you are or aren't available for. And they will acknowledge and respect that. So stand firm. Boundaries are about discipline. And unfortunately, we as humans are known for saying that we want one thing, but acting and believing in a way that's the complete opposite. I do cleanse my space on a somewhat regular basis, but I keep it really simple. And I do have some crystals like obsidian, smoky quartz, and selenite that I use from time to time when I'm visualizing clearing my space of energy, but I don't do long rituals or use many tools at all. I thought it'd be kind of fun to share that I do this movement that feels strangely natural to me, that just came to me, where I am kind of squatting really fast, breathing really fast, and I'm using my hands to lift the energy up from my feet. So I'm kind of going, but my hands are down at my feet. And I just imagine that I'm lifting all this energy until it gets to about my hips. And once it gets to my hips, I do a forward bend and I imagine all the energy just falling off of me and Archangel Michael coming in with a vacuum cleaner and sucking it all up. For some reason, that is the thing that came to me. I just started doing it without thinking, and I realized this is just my way of clearing energy. And I don't do it after every single reading, but when I feel like I need to, which is at least, once every couple of weeks, I will do that around my desk space where I give readings, and I'll just do it around my body. If you are the person who says, I've tried all of this and boundaries just don't work for me, I'm not sure that you're going to like my answer, but I say it with absolute love, understanding, and no judgment, just with the intention of really trying to help you. You may have a blind spot in terms of where you say that you have a boundary, but I would guess that your beliefs don't keep that boundary intact, and your actions likely don't either. I've been there myself, and there is so much that's deep in our subconscious that can keep us a little stuck. When this has happened to me, I go to therapy. I love EMDR, and I also get help from an energy worker who can not only move and clear that stuck energy, but who can also explain to me where this is coming from and what fear is being taken away, since so much of why we hold on to things is out of protection and fear. If you're interested in strengthening your clairs so you can speak to spirit, please download my free guide below. It's called 3 Easy Exercises to Strengthen Your Clairs and Speak to Spirit. Also, jump on over to mediumshipwithmel.com. There you can book private readings, group readings. You can check out my development circle and other ways to learn right along with me. Make sure you check out this video next. And definitely subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified the next time I release a video about all things mediumship.